Destiny 2, Codename Frontiers, a developer insight, next generation armor. If you guys missed our full reaction to little dev stream they did, also showcasing some things coming with Revenant on October 8th, do feel free to check the description where we'll have the full link there. Welcome to one of many developer insight articles for Codename Frontiers. Over the weeks and months to come, we'll be covering a lot of different topics about changes coming to Destiny 2 next year with these deeper dives. Check back with our Paving the Way for New Frontiers article for more information on our plans and our always updated lists of these articles as they are published. This deep dive is on our future plans for armor. Compared to weapons, armor has been relatively an exciting reward for years now. In the year ahead, we'll be introducing new properties to armor and changing how stats work to make it easier to change armor around. Now, the TLDR armor will be a more active, interesting part of build crafting. Stats will be reworked to be more impactful, less confusing, and less constraining. Set bonuses will be introduced to give individual armor sets more unique identities and build crafting elements. A good game that I can use as an example for this, since we've actually recently went back to it for a little bit, but Tom Clancy's The Division 2, the whole way they do their armor system based around set bonuses. You can still, run an exotic in there as one piece in your gear, as in Destiny, running one exotic as a piece in your gear. So it's nice to see Destiny kind of tackle this and start bringing some set bonuses over. That should be nice to see how they implement. Now, the problem in the years since the last major update, Shadowkeep's Armor 2.0, armor has settled into a relatively static part of the reward story. Once you have the right stat rolls, there is very little else to look forward to, and the intricate balance of stat values has a lock-in effect that makes it hard to want to swap anything out anyway. So for instance, if you somehow manage to be running quadruple 100th, why would you ever change it? For armor to be exciting again, it needs more unique properties, and stats need to be easier to manage without so much need for fine-tuning. The solution, the reworked stat mechanics. Stats on armor will be changing in Codename Frontiers in order to make them more player-friendly. The first major change is the mechanics of the stats themselves. Stats effects will no longer be tiered every 10 points. Every point in a stat will provide a benefit. This change is intended to reduce the lock-in effect that happens when a fine-tuned combination of stat values make it feel impossible to switch out any single armor piece. Stat effects will be capped at 200 now, so an 100 increase with the range from 101 to 200, providing an additional powerful effect building on the base effect. This change is intended to support deeper investment in a smaller number of stats and a spikier stat distributions on armor with fewer secondary dump stats. Now, I'm interested to see how this goes forward. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're already rocking quadruple 100s, would it be worse to not do quadruple 100s and actually take one up to 200 or take two up to 200? In addition to the above changes, the distribution of stats on armor will also be changing. Legendary armor will have a stat archetype which determines the primary and secondary stat types, with a third stat being a free roll. The values of these stats should overall be spikier, leading to fewer points in dump stats. Class slot, Hunter Cloaks, Warlock Bonds, and Titan Marks will have full stat distributions on par with other slots. That is huge, guys. So that's going to allow you to reach that 200 stat bump. So once again, if you're already rocking kind of quadruple 100s, now that your class slot is offering more, you could probably keep your quadruple 100s that you worked so hard for, right? And kind of add some more into another respective stat. We'll have to see when all that stuff gets implemented, provided they don't change anything to where you lose the current stat range you already have. Now, the result will be a smaller number of unique stats on any piece of armor, with larger contributions to these stats and every stat point providing a benefit. These changes should ultimately make every piece of armor more interesting and easier to evaluate. Now, going over some new stats, and stats will be changing with three goals in mind: improve specific weak stats that offer little value, reduce or eliminate mandatory must have stats, overall improve understandability of stats and their effects. These changes are still under active development, Here are a few examples from work in progress designs, which will eventually include most or all of the current stats found on armor. So, starting with discipline from 1 to 100, will provide the increased grenade cooldown reduction. But now, starting from 101 to 200, it will provide an increased chance to gain a bonus grenade charge whenever your grenade becomes available. Stat renamed to grenade to improve readability. So essentially now with a lot of effects and whatnot, you can throw a grenade, right? Say you have you pick up an overpower that will reduce your cooldowns depending on what mods you're running. Maybe you have your grenade kickstart on as well. That's making that come back even faster, provided you have armor charge, and the armor charge is being expended. Now you have an additional chance of gaining a bonus grenade charge whenever your grenade becomes available. So the quicker you can, make that grenade become available, the quicker you have a chance, increasing chance to gain a bonus grenade. Strength from 1 to 100 provides increasing melee cooldown reduction from 101 to 200, provide an increasing chance to gain bonus melee charge whenever your powered melee becomes available. The stat will be renamed to melee to improve readability. Special ammo. Special ammo from 1 to 100 increases rate at which special ammo bricks drop from final blows. 101 to 200 provides an increasing chance that a double sized brick will drop. Now, it just says final blows here in the notes. I'm not sure if they're going to keep it where if you're getting final blows with an exotic kinetic primary, at this point it's increasing, the chance for special to drop. That's not really specified here. So we'll just have to see when there's more info on this later. Now, set bonuses. The second major change to armor is the introduction of set bonuses. Think of them like an origin trait for armor to represent the theme of the armor and allow you to reflect that fantasy in the way your build plays. Set bonuses are perks granted when you equip 2 and 4 pieces of armor from the same set. This allows you to either commit to 2 bonuses from the same set or find combinations that fit your unique needs. We're keeping both approaches in mind as they take shape and are excited to see what each Guardian chooses to do with these new tools. Note that there is no bonus at 5 pieces because most builds are expected to include a piece of exotic armor. As you'll see, perks will consist of either existing mods or will be newly designed. I've included a few examples below that represent the general direction we'd like to go. Really quick, I will leave also a link to the article. You guys can play catch up there if anything here catches your eye. You also feel free to pause at any moment, kind of go over these as well. So theme 1, as they kind of mentioned in the little dev reveal, text mechanica. While shooting from the hip, you have increased movement speed and weapon handling. Effect increases when you score hits. That's at 2 pieces. At 4 pieces, text mechanica weapons have increased range and accuracy when hip fire. I have to tell you this right now, man. Depending on these text mechanica weapons, right? Oh boy. PvP, man. PvP going to be cooked. Increase while shooting from the hip, increase movement speed and weapon handling. Sheesh. And then those particular weapons under that will have increased range and accuracy when hip fired. Oh boy. Now moving on to non-stop aggression. Final blows with freshly reloaded weapons heal you. Oh. And that's just heal you. No reload, no nothing. Till prior, right? So if you take a look at something, anything with heal clip on it, you would have to get the final blow and then reload. Here, if you just reloaded prior and then you get the final blow, to heal you. And that just says in general, they don't specify on it. So depending on even at that time how the ammo economy is, if you somehow manage to load a special, say in a shotgun or something, right, that doesn't have heal clip on it, and you reload that thing and you have this on, you get the final blow, you should get some health back. Probably going to be at the low end of maybe 60 or 120. Kind of functioning like a heal clip, I would assume. Damaging a target with a shotgun or fusion rifle increases the damage it takes from those weapons for a short time. Whoa. I'm shooting blanks right now. But what's it called? There's 2. There's that, I think it's 4 horsemen, right? That shotgun. That should be very nice under this set. And then that fusion rifle. What is it? The merciless fusion rifle? I'm shooting blanks on the names right now. But those 2 particular weapons should be very good under that set. And then we have Demolitions Expert, direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase their reload speed. Repeated direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase grenade ability damage. Oh, Starfire be making a comeback with this one right here. This one's looking good, guys. Depending on the value of all these, of course, because also there's gonna be 4 pieces, so you can run an exotic, so you can run your exotic class item per se under prismatic and get those 2 bonuses off of it, which would probably be more ideal for you to really benefit this. But I think this is gonna be huge, kind of leaning back into that Starfire action. And we have Vanguard Operative. Activating your grenade gives you and nearby allies damage resistance against combatants. Defeating champions, that's a 2 piece now. 4 piece, defeating champions with a finisher will generate special ammo for you and your fire team. As of right now, in order to do that on your class item, it would actually take your armor charge to do this if you put that particular thing on. So now it seems you can just throw this set on, and defeating the champions with the finisher will do that. Key on champion. As far as right now on your class item, when you put that ability on, it's any enemy you defeat as long as you have the armor charge for it. That that'd be huge. I like these changes coming, and I think it's gonna be very refreshing, guys, because if you've ever played like any Tom Clancy's The Division game or any other game that kind of leans heavily into set bonuses, this is really what makes your build stand out the most. Like mix and match your set bonuses. So it's about time they start leaning into this to keep the game nice and fresh. Now, some other info. What happens to my old armor? Old legendary armor will be changed as little as possible, but because it changed its stat mechanics and types, are global changes. Old armor pieces will have their stat types, but not their values changed around when possible. These changes will be to the most similar stat, but with some stats being fundamentally reworked, this won't always be possible. Say goodbye to those quadruple 100s. Or what about exotic armor? Updating the exotic armor pursuit is on our roadmap, but won't be part of the initial update that is focusing on legendary armor. So to make sure that exotics and their build defining perks remain a compelling option, we're working on a design that would allow players to update their exotic armor to bring their stat bonuses in line with the changes to legendary armor. They say a design. It'll probably be some type of currency or something, maybe similar with the exotic cipher or something in order to bring those up. They'll do something tedious like that to keep you playing the game, keep you farming for that particular thing, to keep the player base up, to bring those up, or you just go for fresh pieces entirely. And the exotic class items introduced in the final shape are a special case, even though legendary class items will be getting full random stats with this update. We don't wish to add additional randomness to the exotic class item chase. Instead, they'll be providing a method for players to update their existing exotic class items with the additional stats of their choosing to bring them in line with the stat contribution of the new legendary class items. More details on the longer term plans for exotic armor coming as we nail them down. Ah, guys. My vault is full. Where am I supposed to store all of this new armor? We know that vault pressure is a real problem for many players, even with recent increases in vault space. Outside of adding more space and options, real solutions that enable long term storage of more desirable roles are really hard problems. Those are the problems we're peninsuling into our roadmap at or around next year's second expansion. Codename Behemoth. We'll share more details when we have a clear direction for how we think we can solve this one. Next year's second expansion, Codename Behemoth. Guys, we're about to have Revenant. There's gonna be some juicy things from that. If your vault space is already full, like me, what the heck? And then for the third episode, we're gonna have some more goodies coming. And then what the heck? Vault space is still full. And no, not the first expansion of Frontiers, but only until the second one, Behemoth. Potential vault things going on. Really, as a content creator, that's a huge problem, guys. Vault space. Because sometimes you want to hold on to things so you can test and do random things with it. make some fun ideas out of it and things of that nature. And then really just a diamond hand aspect of it. Something could get buffed huge down the road, and then that item that wasn't good at the time can just be so amazing in that particular format. In the world of Destiny, a lot of things are craftable nowadays. You can now enhance certain traits on perks, so having to rehunt for certain things isn't too bad. If we compare this to something more recent, two recent things, maybe like Division or something that's still kind of decent in its own niche category, but predominantly the first Descendant. You're probably going to hold on to those items for a bit until some reworks happen to them because it was such a pain to farm them to begin with. So hopefully they kind of bump this up a little bit and really crack down on it and bump it up early. That's a huge thing for me, guys. The vault stuff. And I think for a lot of you guys as well, those are our thoughts, the breakdown of developer insight and next generation armor. Expect some more Destiny 2 things to be covered here, going into Revenant, kind of seeing how we enjoy the episode, and at least some regular check-ins with it when there's a new weekly act, some new story to get into, and things of that nature. So do be posted to the channel, and if you aren't subscribed already, make sure you do so and spank that notification button so you never miss one of our uploads. Predominantly, the content will still focus on First Descendant. We are variety at its core. And remember to slay and conquer.